So, hello, Martin is here. So, I scheduled a new space. So, because Peter decided to stop the previous one. So, okay, then I hope Tarma will see the space too, and will join. Okay, cool. To join. It's a new one. Okay, Tarma requested to speak. Approve. Okay, Tarma, if you speak, then I can hear. Hello, hello. Tarma is on mute, actually, a speaker. You're mute. Oh, yeah. Today took only 5 minutes to get it running, so it's very good.
Don't touch anything. Don't touch.
Actually, I don't touch anything, so I'm only pressing this approve speaker button. And then I don't know what happened. I press approve speaker, and what happens on your side?
Nothing. But now I could somehow log in, and I hear you, and I can speak. So, Martin, let's start with our discussion today.
Yeah, it's but of course it's a little bit annoying. Like every time when you're starting the discussion, then you have 5 minutes trying to get this technology running. So and today even we had to reschedule it now because Twitter just decided to stop it. Okay, Tarma, just out of curiosity, when I started it, could you hear me or could you not hear me? Because I didn't hear. Can you hear me?
It was like the previous one. I didn't hear you from minute 2. And
from minute 2, I'm not able to understand. What does mean hearing from minute 2?
From third minute, I couldn't hear you in the last setup you set up.
But the minute 1 and 2, could you hear me then?
Correct.
Okay. Then whatever, every time we have this 5 minutes, always a mess to get this X-Space running. Now it's running. Let's get started. So it's an X-Space number 23 on the Web3 and AI topics. We are doing these X-Spaces every 2 weeks. And we are focusing on Web3, on AI. We keep the X-Space then below 60 minutes. We try it at least. And usually it's just a brainstorming of Tama and me. We brainstorm, we speak. Actually, we get so many ideas from this. X-Spaces are actually loud. This X-Spaces actually because we get ideas. Now, today's topic is Web3 AI agents. Now, and okay, just to keep it a bit more focused, not that we start to speak about too many different topics. Today's topic is then Web3 AI agents for transaction monitoring. So, why? Okay, then now to get started, but we have also new listeners. Let's introduce ourselves and the projects we are working. So, Tarmo, would you like to give an intro of you?
Hello, my name is Tarmo. I am a distinguished architect. I'm ex-chief architect of largest Swiss banking platform. I was in Credit Suisse architecture 11 years. I'm co-founder of Smart Credit and ChainAware. I did do my PhD by Nobel Prize winner. Yes, CFA, Kaya, and 4 master degrees in addition. And I've built over 200 applications. Martin, back to you.
Okay, so now I'm coming initially from the startup sector. So like 20 years ago, I built I worked for one startup, built pretty many successful products there. I think 4 products built before Web3. Like that time it was 250,000, now it's probably 500,000 or more users. But then I worked for the Credit Suisse. I worked 10 years for the Credit Suisse in Zurich, so it was very good. We learned a lot of stuff. And then we left Credit Suisse. I left Credit Suisse, and then we created Smart Credit. And some years later, then we created the ChainAware. And today's topic is a very ChainAware related. Now, my background, okay, apart from being a lot in startups, so my background is 4 master degrees. So we're just saying it's not like we spend a lot of time with universities. Usually we just went there to do the exams. And so, but we are very practical guys because that is all passion. Our passion is to implement new ideas, to create innovation. That's our passion. So And they just spent some little time with universities, did the exams, got diplomas, and say, thank you. Thank you, universities. Now let's move on. Okay, let's introduce now the projects as well that we are working. So, okay, let me introduce the smart credit, and then you start with ChainAware. So we created smart credit for some years ago. It was then before the DeFi wave started, we created its first fixed term interest, fixed rate interest a Lend platform. So it was very unique, very innovative that time. And that was very interesting. Then our idea of a fixed term and fixed interest, it became kind of a narrative. And there was a lot of other projects joining in this sector. A lot of VC money went in this sector, but we were very happy that people create this narrative, this initial narrative that we created. And then then we got to ChainAware. So Tarmo, some intro of ChainAware, please.
Yes, ChainAware grew out of smart credit, Martin. We started in smart credit with credit scoring, and credit scoring was already AI some 3-4 years ago what we built up, and we added fraud algorithms also into credit score. And one day we said, oh, actually, these algorithms what we have, we should open them for all the community, because they were before just hidden in smart credit. And then we built APIs for these algorithms. We created ChainAware website, and then we said, oh, when we can calculate fraud, maybe we can calculate also other behavioral characteristics and intentions. Yes, and it worked. And then we said, okay, now we can calculate all other intentions. We can predict user behavior. Now let's add ad tech. And it has been a learning path. We have learned to leverage data what is public in the blockchain, and with our algorithms we can process this data and get knowledge out of it and predict users' behavior. And this is ChainAware. We predict future, Martin.
Okay, yes, ChainAware is awareness on the chain, predicting the future. And obviously with AI algorithms, with the statistical algorithms, whatever algorithms are required. And in ChainAware, there's two bigger product lines that we have. One is a fraud detection and the rug pull detection product line. And we focus on, then related topics, a transaction monitoring, meaning continuous transaction monitoring of what happens in the blockchain. That's one of the product lines, and we're using pretty intensively our AI models. We created the AI models. It's not that we're using now someone else AI models. Or no, we created them, we trained them, we have our own proprietary testing data sets. We have our back testing, we have our algos, we have iterative development. And so that's how we created the algos for the fraud detection and the rug pull detection. It's not detection in the sense of that something happened in the past. It's a prediction. It's a predictive. So it's a detection in the sense it will happen in the future. So we are predicting the future. We are not just documenting the past. And that's a very, very big difference. We are a predictive system. So this is
okay, Martin. We have given now intro, but now to the question: what are AI agents? What does AI agents mean? What is your opinion?
Yes, very good. But let me finish just the thought before. Like we said that we have these two product lines. One is then the fraud detection, rug pull detection, and the second is then the marketing, the Web3 marketing product line. So, and actually now if you're getting AI agents, it's directly to jump into there. So we have two kind of, in an abstract way, if you're saying we are two agents. So now one is for the fraud detection and the other is for the Web3 marketing. Now, what are the agents? Now let's think first, let's trace 2 years back, when when it was OpenAI, when it came, I don't remember. Now, and everyone was creating prompts. Everyone was creating prompts. There were specialized prompt engineers. They created very creative prompts, and so everyone was speaking about the prompts. But you see, if you create a prompt, you're sitting on the computer, you create this query, you get a response, and then you create a new query, you get a response. So you are interacting with this LLM model, large-scale linguistical models, the LLM, which are auto-recursive statistical models. So you're interacting with them. But you continuously work on this, so you type it on keyboard now. And if you're getting on the agent topic, so the question of Tarmo, what are the AI agents? So AI agent, it means it's doing work himself. It's not anymore like how it started in the OpenAI now that the prompt engineers or the guys are sitting on their computers and creating super innovative prompts and that are trying to ask questions that they're not allowed or whatever, Everyone who monitored this ChatGPT groups, they know. But you see the situation evolved and now when we're speaking of the agents, in agents, it's not anymore that I'm a human. I'm interacting now with the system. I'm asking these prompt questions. In agents, it means it's an autonomous. It's an agent. It's an agent which runs autonomously. It's doing decisions themselves. It's learning. It's learning from the data that it has. Probably by time, he starts to make a better and better decisions. So it's autonomous. It's learning. It's continuous. So it's a continuously there, working and working. So, and that means we are getting to the agents, not anymore that we are human behavior who is then creating this, asking these questions, but we have then like this intelligent worker doing all the job, continuous job. And here is as well like these two examples, just there, like fraud detection. And we'll speak today a lot about the fraud detection, about the transaction monitoring. We'll speak a lot about this. Because fraud detection is an agent. So there is a process, there is a system which continuously monitors a set of addresses. So transaction monitoring agent or the Web3 marketing agent. So someone is connected to, because ChainAware, the second silo, product silo that we have, this is a marketing, because we predict the behavior of the users based on their past blockchain history. And based on this past blockchain history, then we give them the messages that are then more resonating with the users. Yeah,
and
over to you.
it is just anonymous agent. It runs if user log in somewhere, he can send him a message. It just runs in background anonymously, takes the task that you have defined, and learns. And these are agents, Martin. They just run themselves. They are autonomous. They improve themselves, and they solve tasks for people. It's like you have a person who works for you. And you give this person a task, and this person works continuously. This is agent. And the funny stuff is, Martin, we have built agents in ChainAware. We have built, please.
And just to visualize how this agent is like in the sense of, let's think of fraud detection model now. So first we offer to the people that they can go to our website and enter like vitalik.eth or sassal.eth or some DNS domain name or some Ethereum address or BSC address or so. And they get then, and then the AI algorithm is working and you get some output. So it is exactly on the same level as it was in the prompts. On the prompts of the OpenAI model, you interact with the query, you wait, you get a response, you query next one, you wait, you get a response. Okay, in our case, the waiting was like 0.5 or 1 second, so it was pretty fast. Okay, on bigger addresses, it takes longer. No. But in the case of agent, now let's just imagine if you're doing this work continuously, instead of now every time typing it, the machine will do it. The machine will do all the same thing, and it informs you where you need to be informed. Okay, that's in the case of a fraud detection agent. So a fraud detection agent and a rug pull detection agent. So it runs autonomously. Now, the second is a marketing agent. Now, what is a marketing agent? You come to the Web3 platform because we have this technology, we are predicting now when the user is connecting wallet, we read this blockchain history, we read it out, and we predict what this user will do as a next, what his next probably action. Is he probably high probability trader? Is he medium probability trader? Is a high probability lender? Is a medium probability lender? So particularly we are predicting his next actions, what he will do. And now it's a called pre-AI agent era. It means we know his action, and now we go into a database and we say, if this guy is coming, then we show him that and that messages. So we just type it. We type a prompt. Now, but now in the case of Web3 marketing agents, it's automatically calculated and it's automatically shown. So meaning we have fully excluded human labor from there, human interaction. Everything is calculated automatically. So And so these are these two examples. From one side, the fraud detection agent, and from other side, the Web3 marketing agent. But today's focus is AI agents, so fraud detection / transaction monitoring, and why do we need it? Yes, we just started with the examples to make it easier. Yeah.
But, yes, just also already summarized maybe, but let's discuss it, Martin. And before we dive into Web3, as usual, let's start with Web2, AI agents in Web2. What's your impression of or opinion about it?
Well, maybe you will say. I was speaking now.
Or
You're speaking.
or what are AI agents? It's maybe even easier to understand it in Web2. If you take Web2 companies or even Web1 companies, you have still these huge back offices, knowledge workers, so-called knowledge workers who do some specific task. And now you can visualize it like each of these persons is actually an AI agent. And soon we can put all these rules, all these algorithms that employees are doing into agents. They just carry it out. And what it means is back offices of all these Web2 companies, they will consist mainly of AI agents who need some compute power. These are big profiteers of AI agents. But now when we jump over to Web3, Martin, we have still Web3 is of course fully digitalized. In Web3 you don't have back offices like you have in Web2. Web3 is miles over Web2. But even in Web2 you have this task which can just run automatically. It is just, for example, autonomous trading. Transaction monitoring we are going to discuss now deeper. That you say, okay, this is my bunch of addresses, just monitor and tell me if there are some strange activities, or just do marketing for this segment, run it autonomously and send me statistics every 2 weeks. And in Web3 we have also very, very huge potential for these agents. And because in Web3 we have already achieved full digitalization, what is missing in Web2, the effect of using these agents is enormous. By using AI, by combining now Web3 with AI agents, it is very, very strong leverage, because you add these missing parts, because marketing, fraud, trading, it's all done still by human actors. And if you give now this task over to agents who carry it out, who just run in background and inform you as you have asked them to inform you, the leverage is enormous, Martin. And yeah, this is what I see.
Exactly. So let's take a trading example, maybe easier to visualize, like people doing their trades now. But of course, we know that there are bots and there are AI-driven bots. How the bots will take over the trading? And so actually, it's not a trading bot; it's a trading agent. So now in the AI terminology, we are speaking of someone who is on your behalf doing the actions, and then of course informing you, depending on what you're asking. But
Yes, Martin, and just a parallel, it was in old days in Credit Suisse, jobs were outsourced to offshore providers, Cognizant and all these companies. And now in 20 years later, we will outsource jobs to AI agents. It is just the same, but a new approach, that we give all these tasks which have to be done over to AI agents, and what we see now is just the beginning of this kind of outsourcing to AI agents.
Very right concept. So there was if you look on the Web2, there were huge back offices. Let's think Credit Suisse. If there's Credit Suisse was taken over by UBS, but that's another story. We'll not go on this. We love Credit Suisse. So like in Credit Suisse, you had one employee in the front and you had 8 in the back office. So there was a huge back office employees. Why? Because Credit Suisse is still like on the Web 1 level, but even on Web 2, it's the same situation. You are not 100% digitalized. Now in the Web 3, we are 100% digitalized. So, okay, plus minus 100%, because if you have the compliance and transaction monitoring, there's sometimes a human intervention required. So, and because it's not 100% automated, there's always some little human interface. There's some human rules. There's some decision makers and so on. And yes, indeed, it was everything outsourced. This business BPOs, business process outsourcers. It was huge. Why did the Web 2 companies did it? Very simple. They suppress the cost. Because I mean, the back office 1:8 ratio. That means this front office one had to produce so much profit that all 8 and plus the profit of the company will be generated. Now, and now we are going to this next optimization level. Yes, that this BPO or business process outsourcing, which has happened very, very aggressively. Okay, it will then replaced probably its limit. It's reached the level of effectiveness, so it cannot be improved anymore. So now it will be replaced with a new paradigm, and this is the agents, and not only in a Web 2, but even in a Web 3. Now in a Web 2, of course, it will give to the corporates a very high like a cost benefit advantages. We all know what it means, a cash flow calculation, so cost benefit. But in a Web, does it mean in a Web 3? In a Web 3, it means, now let's think a typical Web 3 team. So we have tests, we have marketing, and yes, like how we call it, partnership/sales. We can massively simplify your projects. Let's say, okay, there will be more compliance coming, like we'll speak about transaction monitoring. We'll soon get to the transaction monitoring. So, but again, Web3 projects, they need a certain number of people just to fulfill these roles. Okay, to do the marketing, to do the fraud detection. Okay, these are the core roles that everyone has to do. But now if you put the agents in a place to do this stuff, the Web3 marketing or Web3 fraud detection/transaction monitoring agents, actually you don't need staff for this. So, meaning you can keep your Web3 company much smaller. You are focusing on the key business processes and the support business processes, which is like a marketing, which is then transaction monitoring. Okay, marketing, you will need it because you want to generate revenue. So you must convert the clients. Okay, you have to convert clients via personalized, via resonated messages. So it has to be done. Now, fraud detection.
Martin, what it means is you focus on your core business processes and you focus on innovation. Because if you take now transaction monitoring, marketing, sales, it's more like you have to add it. And these added jobs, you can just outsource them to AI agents. And it means...
Bingo.
Yes, you focus on your core innovation, but what is your fully innovative solution? And today you spend time tracking transactions, doing marketing, doing sales, doing your liquidity management, all these supplementary tasks, so you don't have time for innovation. And all the supplementary tasks you just outsource now in Web3 over to agents. This is what's happening, and what it means is enormous innovation wave, because you can start doing innovation. You don't have to waste time with your marketing and marketing agencies and all this horror, Martin.
Exactly. Like let's think that, okay, that's our X-Base number 23, and we have spoken very much about the Web3 ad tech, Web3 marketing, how to speed up Web3 marketing, because we think it's a critical not just for the project, it's critical for the full ecosystem, because the acquisition costs are too high in the full sector. So, and which is happening, the CEOs, the CTOs, they're spending their time that they should use now to innovate the business processes. They are doing on this, trying to find out the innovations for the marketing, or innovations for the sales, or innovations for the partnerships, creating some whatever programs, referral programs, leaderships, point systems. We created as well a point system in a ChainAware, like everyone who uses ChainAware fraud detection up over the user interface or wallet auditor. They are getting the points, but you see, these are supportive activities. These are not the key innovation. The key innovation is in ChainAware. These are the algorithms. This is the predictive algorithms that you are predicting what is happening as the next. And from one side, we integrated this with the transaction monitoring, and from other side, we integrated this with our Web3 marketing. So these are these two agents now. And what does it mean? So we see it ourselves that we have to spend time on these supplementary activities, to keep ChainAware growing, more clients, more traffic, more usage. But a lot of these tasks, the more the agents are developing, can be outsourced now to the agents, to the AI-driven agents. Meaning the founders, the innovators, they will have much more bandwidth to focus on the real innovation. So instead of not negotiating with these tens of marketing companies about how to generate traffic to the websites and this topic. So okay, that's the advantage of AI agent. Quite a mind blowing. So and
It is huge milestone, and it will now open enormous innovation wave in Web3 AI agents, because you don't have to spend time on the supplementary processes. You do innovation. You can focus 100% on innovation and leave all this timely task you actually don't like over to AI agents. And it means enormous innovation wave what we will face now in Web3 thanks to AI agents, Martin.
yes, and especially in Web3, because Web3 is so innovation driven. In Web2, it's slower, and the Web3 I think to be much faster than in a Web2. Yeah. Okay, Tamo, we have been speaking now half an hour. We wanted to speak today about the transaction monitoring. Okay, practically that we speak about AI agents for transaction monitoring, but we spoke with Tamo that we will speak a little bit about what AI agents are, why they are so relevant, why they're so critical in the industry.
They are very, very relevant because we just explained, Martin, AI agents take over all your time-consuming tasks so that you can focus on real innovation. And real innovation are your algorithms, is your business process you solve, is your new solution. This is real innovation. And you don't have to waste time tracking transactions or managing liquidity or negotiating with exchanges or doing marketing, etc., etc. It all takes you away from your core innovation. And this AI agents will speed massively up innovation. And now when we go over to transaction monitoring, Martin, it is just one crucial element where we can have it an AI agent. And how can you visualize it to you? Is like you say, okay, I have 10,000 addresses, please monitor it. And this agent just runs continuously, autonomously, and checks there is a new transaction on address. Okay, is it good? Is it not good? Calculates, checks, learns, and runs in background. And as soon as something suspicious happens, notifies the client. Is it then over push messages or Telegram, whatever. And this is transaction monitoring. It is an AI agent. It's an autonomous. It runs. It works for the client, and just reports in real time what are issues. And now, Martin, now we have already described what is this AI agent, and it takes you a lot of work away. You don't have to do manually go into Etherscan and is here a transaction from some strange pool or etc., or is it marked transactions. When I hear all these chain analysis stories that analysts, there are rooms full of analysts, I don't know, 20 or 30 data scientists just sitting for police department in Zurich and tracking manually transactions. I say, guys, you do something wrong, right? And instead you need AI agent, it runs. You don't need 20 scientists for police department in Zurich. It is for just one AI agent, just monitor. Yeah. And sorry, Martin, back to you.
Yeah. Okay. The listeners don't know that the police department in Zurich has so many funds that they can hire so many data scientists, and he didn't want to make an advertisement to the police department. But yes, that's the point. Okay, it was just a visualizer instead of doing this repetitive task. But highly skilled specialists and expensive specialists to give this task over to the transaction monitoring agent, which will do all this job, and he will be informing. So as long as everything is like in a clean area, everything running stable, nothing special, everything runs nicely. You should see some statistics. But then if things start to happen, then you have to jump in. Then you have to decide. And let's take this transaction monitoring or like a real-time fraud detection. Like we are saying, actually every Web3 platform, every DApp, they have 50,000 dApps, they have to integrate it now. And why they have to integrate it? Okay, there's two parts now. One is it's a regulatory requirement. The regulatory requirement is that virtual asset service providers, and every DApp is a virtual asset service provider, they have to do transaction monitoring. Now, they have to monitor the fraudulent transactions. Now, and sooner or later it's coming. And the regulator doesn't mandate now the contract monitoring, that you monitor now the contract and so on. Of course, contract monitoring is required for the wallets, let's say, but there may be 100 wallets. But most of the dApps, they are not the wallets. They are like some DeFi dApps or gaming dApps or whatever. 50,000 plus, 1,000 plus every day. The numbers are growing. Maybe it's already 80,000, maybe it's 100,000 plus. We don't know. We're just kind of plus minus. We're always speaking about 50,000 now. Okay, one is the regulatory requirement, but there is another requirement. It's the trust in the ecosystem. Now, let's say like half of the dApps start to monitor the users with AI agent. It means we start to exclude the bad wallets. Now, let's say 80% of the dApps start to monitor their wallets with a transaction monitoring agent. Now, we will exclude even more bad users. Now, because at the moment, what is happening now, there are these tools called crypto AML tools. Now, crypto AML tools, these are we call them forensic tools. These are tools where we analyze the past and we just describe what happened in the past. These are like historians, like this data scientist in a police department in Zurich. But not that we are going and visiting them there every day. So, okay, no. But you see, the crypto AML is only one part. The second is the transaction monitoring, that we continuously monitor the addresses. And this is nothing new. This is all there since Web2 for all the banks, for all financial asset providers. Financials.
Yes, it was already everything what we talk here. It is from Web2. And we speak, maybe we think it's innovation of Web3. It's already in Web2. When we take Web2, in Web2 there is a lot of fraudulent activities. Even if people don't believe it, there is a lot of money laundering. There's a lot of criminals financing, direct fraud, scamming, phishing, impersonation, hacking. Web2 is full of it. And how Web2 solved it, it was the same. They build up these trust systems. Or when we take credit cards, Martin, remember credit card fraud, we have spoken about it. It was in early years when Web2 started, it was like from your... nobody wanted to transfer credit card over internet. It was totally insecure. You did do it once and it landed by hackers, and then you had to say, oh, it's wrong transactions and please explain it to your bank. Nobody wanted to do it. And it took quite a lot of time to build up the systems which cleaned up credit card fraud, and which cleaned up all this money laundering and phishing and scamming in Web2. And now we are Web3, and Web3 faces exactly the same issues. The only thing what is in Web3, we don't have currently transaction monitoring, but or we have it, Martin, we have it in our ChainAware, we have it. But it is still not understood that we have it, or how would you explain it, Martin?
Well, okay, yes. Again, the regulator is mandating virtual asset service providers to do the AML and transaction monitoring. Now, but the virtual asset service providers, especially because crypto AML is driven by the companies like Chainalysis and very big companies. If I'm not wrong, Chainalysis received 500 million investment. Dear VCs, we really have no clue what they're doing with your money. Sorry for you guys. Okay, sorry. Now, anyhow, because they have so big marketing power, then of course this marketing power is used. And virtual asset service providers are all doing crypto AML, and they're doing AML is as well transaction monitoring. Now, fully two different things. AML is using standard AML algo. It's a flow of bad funds in the system. The standard algos, it's even codified in the law how you have to do it in most of the OECD countries. It's a public algo how it's done, and the scammers know very well how the AML algo is working. Now, if the scammers and your adversary knows how your algo is working, how your crypto AML is working, and then you want to do with the crypto AML transaction monitoring, this ain't working now. And that's why the transaction monitoring has been introduced. Now the regulator, okay, I know sometimes we say regulators are not so super intelligent, but in this case they have been super intelligent. Now why? Because transaction monitoring is then recognizing all these things with the standard AML algo, which everyone knows how it's working. More or less everyone knows. So it's not catching. It's a transaction monitoring, and transaction monitoring is always AI based because it's a pattern matching. It identifies the patterns based on your past behavior. It predicts your future based on your past behavior. So transaction monitoring. Now, and what has happened in Web3 because of these crypto AML companies with this huge money and marketing power. Okay, I really don't get why the VCs are not withdrawing the money from these companies or why they're not putting this in transaction monitoring. Okay, maybe one day it will happen. So the companies are using AML for transaction monitoring. This doesn't work. And they're saying to the regulator, we are doing it because there are no tools for transaction monitoring. Actually, there are.
Yes,
They are
yes.
there.
And it's like now several aspects. The first aspect is there is transaction monitoring available. You can do it fraud detection real time with AI agents from ChainAware. And since they say, oh, there are no products, we have to do this AML with these 5 hop algorithms, or you follow in graph maximum 5 steps.
Tama, we should tell now to everyone how to bypass Chainalysis algorithm. But I mean, sorry guys, I think you said it already.
I didn't tell it. But what I wanted to tell is these algorithms from Chainalysis, they have such a limitation, or this standard AML algorithms. And when we talk now about ecosystem, and that we want to get the whole ecosystem clean. It's the same what happened in Web 2. In Web 2, with transaction monitoring algorithms, what we applied to credit cards, what we applied to banking system, we could clean up all the Web 2 from bad actors. It's very small percentage of bad actors who remained in Web 2. And we need the same. We have to do the same in Web 3, and to build up overall ecosystem trust. And now, if a current trust algorithm is this AML algorithm from regulators with limitations, and it has very published limitations, then it's easy to bypass, and we can't increase overall trust in the system. And to increase the overall trust in the system, we have to go over to the next step: continuous transaction monitoring, real-time transaction monitoring. As soon as you see early signs that there is an interaction with tornado addresses, or interaction with some scamming phishing addresses. This address haven't done scamming, but it has some connection to scamming addresses or contract hacking addresses, or some behavioral patterns where some very certain patterns appear. And then we already should be very, very aware something is going to happen in future, and high alert for transactions from this address. Best don't accept these addresses as partners, or say, okay, there are very, very bad signs. We are not sure if we continue business with you. And this is what we don't have now in Web 3, but we have it in Web 2. And the point is, Web 2 was not cleaned by AML algorithm. Web 2 was cleaned by transaction monitoring algorithms, Martin, what you said. And if we would now introduce this AI transaction monitoring algorithm, where you just say, okay, my 10,000 addresses from my company, just follow these addresses and notify me immediately if something happens, so that I can start some workflows, block something, or request some information, whatever it is, how I react for it. This is what we need to make the whole ecosystem trustable. The same way what happened in Web 2. We know how Web 2 became trustable. It was thanks to transaction monitoring algorithms, and the same is what we need now in Web 3, Martin.
Yeah, because in a Web3 we see a little bit this attitude that we are rebuilding, that we throw everything that was there away, and we rebuild it. We saw this in DeFi. Like in DeFi, like this decentralized finance, that we are fully rebuilding the new finance. But the finance consists of very many different paradigms and very many very essential paradigms, like okay, smart credit, like a fixed term borrow lend, now fixed interest rate, which is essential for the real economy, was very much ignored by the DeFi because the DeFi guys thought they will redefine now the finance. So actually, we are saying that we don't need to redefine the finance. We don't need to redefine the Web3. What we need is we have to look on the real business processes, what we have in a Web2, or what we have in a Web1, what we have in a brick and mortar. And we put these business processes into Web3, into the new technological paradigm. That's it.
Yes,
So,
and you make them fully digitalized and not like in Web 2 or Web 1 where you have these huge back offices. This is innovation, Martin.
So we are that means point being we look in the Web2, we learn from the Web2, not this Web3 like a regular attitude. We know everything better, we do everything better. Then the others are doing, then traditional finance, the traditional economy is doing. No, let's look. Let's look how the Web2 became successful. What happened in a Web2? And we've been speaking at this X Spaces a lot about this. We've been comparing like how did Web2 cross the chasm? And Web2 crossed the cusp because of introducing the trust algorithms, because of introducing the transaction monitoring. And it was even mandated by every financial service provider had to do the transaction monitoring. So otherwise they will lose the license. They have to demonstrate that they have operational capability. Now, let's imagine that the same will happen in a Web3. That we solve this trust issue as it existed on the beginning of the internet hype in all the internet new economy. And how much new trust it will create. Like how many new users will get into the Web3 economy? Because what's happening at the moment, people are joining, they're getting frauded, they're getting scammed, they're getting rug-pulled. The guys who are longer in the industry, they know everything. What is happening, a lot of not clean things happening. But if you can reduce this non-clean things, so that by every virtual asset service provider that's introducing transaction monitoring starts to exclude the bad addresses, I mean, the whole ecosystem is getting much more stable, much more, yeah. So, okay, that's the idea. That means, but let's jump down. I see time is ticking.
Martin, let's mention also this legal situation currently. That legally, all virtual asset service providers are requested to do transaction monitoring. This is currently legal requirement. It is codified in laws. You have to do it. But the narrative is, as there is no transaction monitoring, we just do crypto-ML with adversary effects for all the ecosystem, just limitation of these AML algorithms. And transaction monitoring is not done. And legally, regulators request it, but it is not happening. And this is very, very, very funny situation that shows now this enormous marketing power of this crypto AML companies. Yeah, and that usual P2P partners are like mislead. Oh, actually, there are no transaction monitoring systems. No, they are, and they are the same effective like we have them in Web 2. And I just want to emphasize Web 2 became successful because Web2 introduced transaction monitoring algorithms, and especially for credit cards. I remember in my early days in Web2, when I do first transactions over internet, I was totally afraid. I knew how much fraud is, or how when your addresses, credit card addresses out, that you will have to clean up your statements and fight with a bank. Will they pay it, or will they reimburse it, or what happens? And this was not long time ago, and this is the same what we have now in Web3. And the difference is when in Web2 you can revert your transactions. In Web2, in fiat systems, you could revert transactions. In Web3, you can't revert transactions. And if you go now over into Web3, you have to learn it before it happens. You have to block bad actors before it happens. AI agents has to say, there are suspicious patterns before this bad thing happens, because you can't reverse transactions. In Web2, we are in this kind of lucky state or unlucky state. What's your perspective? You can reverse transaction. Something bad happens. I reverse transaction. Okay, it's an effort, but it's possible. In Web3, we have to make a hard fork of a blockchain. Okay, it happened, for example, by Ethereum once, by this DAO many years ago. But this effort is so high that it's not practical to revert transactions, and it means you have to learn it before bad transaction is going to happen, that you can stop these activities. And please, Martin.
Okay, now, but let me trace a little bit back, because there is as well, let's speak of two terms. Now, one term is transaction monitoring, and what we see in Web3 is a lot of contract monitoring now. And we have seen as well that VCs, venture capital, have sent a lot of funds in the contract monitoring. Now, what is contract monitoring? Contract monitoring then tries to identify the bad contracts. What are bad contracts? Okay, who just steal your funds, or they have the highly sales taxes, or they're doing some weird things with your assets, and so on, so on, so on. Bad behavior. Or maybe they do it in the future, or maybe they're proxy contracts. Let's say there's an implementation, but proxy contract means the implementation can be replaced with some other one, or tokens can be minted. There are hundreds of these kind of things. Now, so we have transaction monitoring versus contract monitoring. Now, but let's think now. If you are Web3 platform, do you need contract monitoring? Because you know your own contracts. You have audited your own contracts. Probably if you have more money, you use the better, not better, more expensive, more dollar.
And several auditors, yeah.
And yeah, you go to the number one. We are not now making the advertisement for any, but you go to the, many number ones. Or if you have 10 less funds, you go to the number twos, or just one number two and so on. But you audit your own contract. You don't need contract monitoring in a sense of that you start now to monitor all the transactions. No, you don't need it. What you need to do is you have to monitor the wallets which are connecting to your platform. You need to monitor the wallets. So that means we see as well like that the VC money from one side it went to the crypto AML, Chainalysis and all this huge market power that was taken over, full monopoly. Now the other side it went to contract monitoring. But let's think regulatory. The regulator is requesting 50,000 virtualized service providers plus central service providers too, which control the keys to do the transaction monitoring. But it's transactions, it's wallet monitoring. Now it doesn't request you to monitor all these attack contracts and so on. This is maybe only 100, 200 platforms which like wallets, and so they need to do it like to protect their users. So and that means the funds should be allocated into the transaction monitoring, into the wallet monitoring, so that the wallets are monitored, that the transaction monitored, that the bad actors are excluded from the system, and the good actors then they can prosper, they can grow. So
And as you said, Martin, the money flows now into crypto AML, which has limitations and don't build up this overall trust in the ecosystem like we had achieved in Web2. And the money goes into contract monitoring, but is maybe half
which
a
is nice
percentage.
intellectual problem, it's perfect for the platforms like the text check or text tools that publish some information about contracts, and you can check it's perfect. But how many
Mhm.
these kind of repositories do you need? Do you need them 50? Do you need them 100? Do you need them 200 in all Web3? Probably, okay, not more than 250. Like, let's take a wallet as well. So, but you see, money is going to contract monitoring, so which is not the main use case. The money is going to crypto AML, but that is required. That is
Yeah,
required for
and
the
and
trust
and and in
agents
Web
for transaction monitoring.
and in Web2, money went into transaction monitoring to stop credit card fraud, Martin. And
Yes.
this is where we should learn, and especially when we now have in ChainAware available technology, but is AI agent doing transaction monitoring in your behalf. It is like you have your personal data scientist who is just monitoring transactions and recalculating them if something happens and reporting to you if there is something strange. You have your own data scientist, your own PhD is working for you as an AI agent. This is technology what we have available. And similar technology was used in Web2 to stop all this credit card fraud and credit card misuse.
And maybe
Yeah.
for the newer generation, younger generation, let's add it. Why this credit card topic was so relevant? Because credit cards that time were the means to do transactions like a cross-border from one location to others. Now, without credit cards, it was just like a Yahoo index that you browse the web, you read something, oh, some nice content, some nice article, and so that's it. But it was monetization of a Web2. Monetization could happen before the fraud was eliminated slash reduced, and this fraud elimination slash reduction, it happened with transaction monitoring, which was that time already all AI based, meaning pattern matching based, predictive.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
why was okay? It was just a little shortcut to show why we need this credit. It was in a Web2. It was credit card because credit card allowed the
mhm.
monetization of all Web2, which wasn't possible without. There's no Bitcoin that time. There's no crypto at that time. You couldn't do bank transfers anyhow. Cross border so easily. Yeah. Oh, okay.
But yeah, and I remember old days it was like if you use SSL, then maybe your transaction is secure by credit card. But this was time when even SSL secure socket layer was not used overall. Half of internet was running without it, and this was strange times. But then soon we developed all these transaction monitoring systems for credit card fraud and but but now, all these years later, it is the same in Web3. In Web3, regulator or legal, there is legal requirement to do the same, to do transaction monitoring. And now we have even stronger algorithms. We have 10x algorithms compared to what it was like beginning of 2000s. We have a completely new class of algorithms to do transaction monitoring and to just run it independently on behalf of you as your own data scientist. And this is what can transform now Web3 and bring back like this trust centers into Web3, that all these fraudulent activities what we know in Web3, they just start to slowly be pushed down by AI agents. And the more AI agents for transaction monitoring we will install, we will define, the higher these effects will be. And this is really now proposal to everybody, guys. Let's install these AI agents which do transaction monitoring. Let's give them thousands or 10,000s or 100,000 addresses and act before these owners of these addresses start doing bad things. This is how we clean up the Web3 the same way how Web2 was cleaned up, Martin. Yeah.
And just back to you, you said in a Web3 the algorithms are much stronger than in a
Yes.
Web2. Fully agree.
Yes.
And there's one end. And Web3 has higher demand for transaction monitoring than Web2. Because in Web2, you said it before, in Web2, you can then interact with a bank, with a credit card company. You can reverse the transactions. In Web3, you cannot reverse the transaction, meaning you need a predictive compliance. Preventive compliance. You have to do decisions before. You have to do decisions
Yes,
earlier. So,
you can't revert transaction, or you have to do hard fork of a blockchain. These are your options, Martin. Yeah.
so from one side, the algorithms are stronger. From other side, the requirement demand is stronger as well because you cannot revert transactions. Then we see the funds, the VC funding is flowing into crypto AML, or it's flowing into the contract monitoring. Now, contract monitors maybe market size 250 companies worldwide max, maybe rather 150 for the contract monitoring. But there are 50,000 virtual asset service providers. Maybe there's 60,000, maybe there's 70, 80,000 virtual asset service providers. Each of them should do regulatory requirement transaction monitoring with transaction monitoring agents. Why agents? With agents, they will do all the work. They will monitor the chain, there are new transactions, they will monitor them, and if bad things happen, they will inform. And what we have in a ChainAware, we have this monitoring system. Of course, now a little advertisement for ChainAware, and you set your own level. You set what is the trust level that you want to achieve. Usually we're saying like 50% is good enough. But some people say they want 60% trust, meaning very clean wallets, or maybe even 70% trust, or even more cleaner wallets. You define your trust level, and everything that's then popping above this trust level, you get a notification, you get an information, and you decide, or you have default rules what we do with these addresses. Meaning, okay, back to this, demand is much stronger in a Web3. The technologies are much stronger, demand is a much stronger, the regulatory requirements are there, and the VC funding is then flowing left or flowing right. So, and in the middle, it's like the VCs, they don't see the forest, they see like one bush on the left side and one little lake on the right side, but in the front there is a
Yes,
big forest, they just don't see it.
and they forgot how Web2 did do this crossing of CAS by transaction monitoring algorithms, credit card systems. They have forgotten already. Yeah.
Yes, the crossing the cusp, there were two parameters for the Web2. One of them was creating the trust with transaction monitoring system, and the second was introducing the advertisement technology, the ad tech. It was a massive innovation of Google that time, the Google AdWords, the Google ad tech, so that the right people get to the right platforms. So, okay, but this is an or other Web3 agent. We didn't want it to speak today so much about the Web3 marketing agent, so we didn't.
Yes, we can do it, Martin. In the next talk, we can talk about our AI marketing agent who will give you time to focus on your core innovation, so that you don't have to spend time doing marketing. Yeah, yeah. Martin, I discovered we are again over time.
Okay, yeah, again, over time. So on the beginning, we had a little bit hiccup. Okay, today, for whatever reasons, the initial X-Space, the our big friend, Elon decided to cancel our X-Space, so we created a new one. So, but we will put this X-Space as well on the YouTube, so that everyone can listen as well from the YouTube. All our earlier X-Spaces. Okay, we have done before 22 X spaces, actually 20 of them are on the YouTube. Now 3 more will be added and very soon too. There will be 23 X spaces on the YouTube. There will be then one more in 2 weeks. So we keep adding them and we keep speaking. Sometimes for us it's difficult to stop speaking. So we speak about Web3, we speak about AI, we speak about the use cases, we speak about the full ecosystem, we speak about how to make the ecosystem grow to grow. And you see, we are passionate about the sector, so we love the sector. Because that's the technological paradigm that we are seeing. So it's a
I
paradigm.
love innovation, Martin, and Web3 is now the strongest innovation what we have. And if you combine it with AI, if you combine Web3 with AI agents, the innovation wave in Web3 will even be stronger because founders and innovators can focus on innovation instead of spending their time and resources on supplementary activities. And this is why we need AI agents. This is why we need AI transaction monitoring, because this will even make innovation bigger in Web3. And Web2, Web1, we can forget them, let them do their back office cleanups, let's focus on Web3, let's focus on getting Web3 forward, let's focus on merging Web3 with AI. This is the future. This is where innovation is.
Yes, okay, that's a very nice closing statement. So that's it. Okay, then let's do it. So then let's finish the X space here, and then Tarmo, then let's say next X space we do about the Web3 marketing agent. We speak about this one.
AI marketing agent for Web3. Yes, we speak about it. Yeah, how
AI
it will save your time and just runs for you, and you can focus on innovation. Yeah.
Okay then, guys. Then thank you for listening in. If you like it, we hope you like it. Then please share and please ask questions as well on the Twitter comments. So yeah, then thank you all, and till next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.